Hello and thank you for tuning in to NEFA's information video about our college pathway programme. Really great that you are considering a future in full-time football and education, and this video will give you all the information that you need about our programme. We're going to cover a lot of detail today, so we'll just go through this right now. This is what this video is going to contain. It's going to be all the information about what NEFA is, who we are, what's our purpose, what really the NEFA programme entails, what it looks like, what the football programme is all about. I know that's of big interest to everybody tuning in, but of course it's a full-time football, full-time education programme, so there'll be lots of information about the courses that are available, our learning partner, and everything that goes with the education side of the programme. We'll talk about progressions, what it means to come on the programme and where it can lead to. And of course, we'll let you know about how you go about asking us any questions after this video as well. So we've got a lot to get through. I'm joined by Spencer Fern, Head of Academy. Spencer, how are you?
I'm good, Ryan. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very
Good.
well. So guys, we'll probably try and keep it to about 40 minutes on this video. But of course, with it being on YouTube, you can stop and start as many times as you like. So let's get cracking. Well, first of all, what is our purpose? What gets us out of bed in the morning? What makes us so passionate and excited about being involved at the North of England Football Academy? Well, it's quite clear, like the slide says there. Really, what our purpose is to provide the very best football education programme for young players, to give them the best opportunity to improve, develop, and really importantly to us, to stay in the game that we all love for as long as possible. So of course we want to produce good players and we want to develop you as players. But what our programme is all about, it's about being realistic and also putting in the foundations for you to stay in the game in other avenues as well. So whether that's you coaching, whether that's being an analyst, there's so many roles in football to consider, and really it's the sort of combination of the two that we are achieving. We've got a great learning partner in Lifeskills that's owned by Spencer. Obviously you've just been introduced to. And the staff at the football club have got a huge amount of experience of working in the game as well, which we'll learn all about in the next few slides. How our whole organisation really is defined and lives by 3 values that you can see there: honesty, commitment, and respect. And we really police ourselves and check ourselves that everything that we are doing is both against that and a mantra of creating footballing futures as well. So everything that we're doing, is that helping you to take another step towards staying in the game? Myself, I've been very fortunate. I've worked in football all of my life. I've held some really exciting and good positions in the game, as you can see on the slide. Everything from being the editor-in-chief of the trade organisation for the football industry, FC Business, to holding some really good positions in the game as well. I've worked in all 4 divisions of the professional game, and I'm involved in some really exciting research around fandom with clubs across Europe and UEFA as well. So it's great to be involved at NEFA. And in terms of my perspective and my experience, we really try and bring a blend of different experiences from the football industry into our programme as well. Spencer.
Okay, well, my background is in education. I've worked in the sector for 25 years now and formed Lifeskills back in 2002. And as Ryan mentioned a little earlier, we've worked with over 20,000 young people in this time. At the age of 31, I had my first midlife crisis and decided to buy a football club, a team called East Stirlingshire, based in Scotland, who were the worst team in Britain. So I had a real challenge on my hands there and ended up having 4 fantastic years. I then went on to become the vice chairman of Stockport County, working with Ryan for 16 months. I then got fed up of the boardroom and decided to get back on the grass, which saw me manage 2 non-league sides, Maltby Main and Frickley, managing 220-ish games, and then going on to Sheffield Wednesday, where I spent 4 seasons working with the under-12s, the under-13s, and the last 2 years of that working with the under-15s and 16s. As well as coaching, I've been a guest on numerous podcasts and webinars speaking about coaching and about the football industry. And I've also worked for the FA as well as a coach educator, where I was coaching the coaches on level 1 and level 2 qualifications. In terms of my own education, I'm a Johan Cruyff Master of Coaching and a Master of Sports Management. I'm nearly finished with my UEFA A licence, which is hopefully done in the next month or so. And I'm working towards 2 master's degrees, one in football performance and coaching, and the other one is a master's sports directorship.
Fantastic, thank you. And Spencer, Ben, obviously key part of the organisation as well.
Yeah, he certainly is. Now, I met Ben 4 years ago working at Sheffield Wednesday. We did the under-12s and 13s together. Ben's career started out at Sheffield United, and then he went on to Chesterfield, where he worked with pretty much every age group there, from the under-9s up until the under-18s before joining Sheffield Wednesday, where he's worked with the under-12s, the under-13s, the under-14s and 15s. As one of those coaches, if there's a coach missing at Sheffield Wednesday, Ben is the person that they call. He's also worked in semi-professional football as well. And as you can see, he's got a number of qualifications. He's a UEFA A licence qualified. He's currently working towards his Advanced Youth Awards. That's a UEFA A for youth development. Has a degree in education and sports coaching, and also a master's degree as well in strength and conditioning.
Good stuff. Ash is one of our new recruits, although he's been with us 9 or 10 months now, and he coaches both within the academy and also acts as the head of recruitment. Ash has got some great experiences working at professional academies at Barnsley and at Huddersfield. And as you can see there, he's had some really good success working within the college system before as well. Ash has got some great caliber working within the female game as well. He was head of football both at Huddersfield University for 3 years with the ECFA, and also coached within that programme the under-15 England school girls. Ash is currently also working and very close to completing his UEFA A licence, and Ash is also completing a master's degree in football performance and coaching. I think it's important to say, Spencer, isn't it, in terms of the coaches that we've got at NEFA, we are really only working with people that have got their, at least their UEFA B, working towards their UEFA A, but also all the additional CPD around it as well. It's people that are trying to better themselves, and it's not for their benefit, it's for the players' benefit, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, traditionally we go down the national governing body route of the UEFA B and UEFA A licence, which is great. All of our coaches either have the UEFA A or working towards, and there's a big gap between the B and A licence, so that's really important for us. Also, we do a lot of learning with the Dutch coach, Raymond Verheyen. So I know that myself, Ash, Ben and Liam are all doing a couple of courses at the moment as we look to develop ourselves. So even though there's loads of good education provided by the English FA, we do look further afield as well to give us a great blend of learning.
So we're well staffed, and one of the reasons around that is what's really important to us at NEFA is this close, small provision as well. So we really do work very, very hard so that the ratio between the number of players and the coaches is as small as possible. We try and keep it to an absolute maximum of around 12 players to a single coach. And again, it's all about you guys. It's all about you guys developing. So we want to work with the best coaches that want to learn so that you guys can get a better experience and you guys can develop. And let's take Liam, for example. Liam's a young coach, but he's absolutely ferocious in his learning. He's already a UEFA B licensed coach, works at Sheffield Wednesday. He's worked in some great environments, worked over in Ireland with Cork, and he's also led the really well-respected courses, the Curva courses as well. Well educated around the subject as well, got a degree in football coaching and management, Curva Youth Diploma holder, and has recently completed a master's degree in football coaching and analysis. Another really important person on our programme is Nick, our sports therapist. We take great pride at NEFA about how we reduce injuries, how we periodise the players, and Nick's a real key role, has got a real key role in that. So alongside his role here at NEFA, he works at Leeds United within their academy system as a sports therapist. He's also a qualified coach, works within schools. So Nick's got a really great demeanour about him, a great manner about him with the players as well. And he's obviously extremely well educated around his field of expertise as well. So yeah, Nick's a great person for us to have on board.
Yeah, in terms of the education element, well, Lifeskills deliver the education, as Ryan mentioned a little earlier, and heading that up is Nick Bailey. Now, Nick is also the managing director of Lifeskills and worked for the organisation for 17 years. And I've also worked very closely with Nick in this period. Really, I've not met anybody better in the industry, unbelievably knowledgeable and passionate about helping young people learn. So he's a great person to have on board, overseeing the education element here at NEFA. Another important part of the team is Dave. Now, Dave is the BTEC sports tutor, which I would say probably 75–80% of the learners follow the BTEC in sport. Very well educated, as you will see. He's got a degree in sport and exercise sciences, and also his teaching qualification, the PGCE. Working in the field for about 8 years as well. He's also received an outstanding grade from Ofsted. Now, these don't happen very often, so it just shows the quality that Dave possesses. And he's also a qualified level 2 football coach. He hails from Sunderland and moves between teams, to be honest. Sometimes he has a Man United tracksuit, sometimes Sunderland. We can't quite work Dave out, can we? Maybe it's the team that wins at the weekend that he follows. But joking aside, he's a great fella to have and a very important part. And as you'll see, the achievement rates for the sport qualification are unbelievably high. And Dave has a big impact in this field.
Thank you. So some numbers that talk about NEFA. We were formed in 2016. We've worked with well in excess now of over 160 people. As you can see in the top right-hand corner there, we've had a number of players graduate out of the NEFA program, both into good contracts at semi-pro level. And also we have had boys go back into the professional game as well. In terms of how the program works, there's around 12 hours of training time per week, and that's spread out across 3 or 4 days, as you'll see a little bit later on. And then in addition to that, we run a highly competitive series of games programs as well. So going into the 21-22 season, there'll be 3 teams within the college program. And again, we'll touch on those in a bit more detail a little bit later on, but everybody should be looking to get around 25 games a season at least. We've also got a great international feel to our college program. We've had lads from 6 different countries. Spencer, we've had a couple of Greek lads this year, which has been interesting but great fun.
Yeah, I mean, particularly our goalkeeper. So for those parents and carers watching this, remember Bruce Grobbelaar is like a Greek Bruce Grobbelaar, very flamboyant, but an excellent goalkeeper as well. And I think people just come to watch him. So, but yeah, I think it's been great, you know, for the British lads as well to see people from different cultures, and it's really part of their experience in life, which help them in the future. But yeah, it's great to have such a blend of different nationalities.
Absolutely, and then that last number there, you know, we are working with UEFA licensed coaches. We've got 4 that are at least UEFA B and UEFA A licenses as well, and that's a really important dynamic. As I say, that's not for any sort of internal benefit. That's because we want the best provision for you as students of the game.
Yeah, quite right there, Ryan. I think, you know, like I mentioned a bit earlier, the UEFA B is a good qualification, but the UEFA A is really going up, and it's the top coaching qualification that you can achieve in, you know, European football and indeed world football. Obviously, there's a pro license, but that's for people like Pep Guardiola and Jose Mourinho. We're probably not at that stage just yet. So, well, it's important to us, everybody, like Liam, for example, as his UEFA B, he is registered now for his UEFA A in Ireland. So everybody is at this standard, which is great for the players, of course.
Absolutely. And as I talked about before, in terms of really what we're trying to create in the program, with it being full-time football, full-time education, but for what ends? Of course, we are going to develop you as players. That is the number one goal. Of course, we are absolutely. But I think perhaps unlike some other programs, we are very, very keen to be very realistic and honest with all the players that we work with. We're absolutely going to give you all the ingredients and all the opportunity to improve. What we're not going to do is promise you that in a year or 2 years, you're going to be signing for Manchester United. We're going to give you the ingredients for you to develop to whatever your maximum is. You're going to need to take part in that and put all of those ingredients together to improve yourself. And as I mentioned before, we've already evidenced, and will be evidencing again this year, that for those players that are open to learning, work unbelievably hard, there are some great exit routes and some great opportunities to go back into the game through us. But at the same time, we're really excited about getting you guys to stay in the game. And I think this is something that young players need to think more about. One, because it's a massive industry. And Spencer and I spent a big chunk of our lives working in football, and it's a great industry to work in. I spend most of my days talking about football, working in the game. I mean, how enjoyable is that? It's really, really enjoyable, and it's such a large industry. So there are over 2 million participants that are involved in football across all ages in this country. Over 100,000 jobs in the UK football industry alone. And you can see all of those numbers on that slide as well. Really interesting one for me as well. Over 135 professional leagues globally. And we take a real international view to what our exit routes can be as well. And for those players that really develop and that have got great attitudes that can back it up with the education as well, there are great opportunities all over the world. And then finally, over 30 roles in each football club. So you might not go on and become a professional footballer, but with some good decisions now at the young and tender age that you are, there's nothing stopping you going on to become a physio, an analyst, a sports scientist, somebody that works in the commercial department. You could go on eventually be an MD or a chief exec of a club of some description as well. These are all things that you can work towards as well.
I think it's important to add there as well, Ryan. We have one player at the moment who's done really well. Was released by a professional club, the under-16s. He's come in, played in the under-19s, the National League, which is a high standard, which we'll cover a bit later. And we've got his clips out now to Championship League One, well, 2 in League One and 1 in League Two. And he'll be offered a trial as we come out of lockdown. So if the players are good enough and they're very good with their education, which is really important, and they work tremendous hard at the football, then there are opportunities to get back into the professional game. But I think it's really important, as Ryan says, that there's millions and millions of people that play football all over the world. It's a very competitive industry. We try and help players get back into the professional game, but also semi-professional is a great route as well. And some amazing money, a lot more money when I was playing 30 odd years ago. There's a lot of opportunities there as well. So if you're good enough, we will obviously do our best to get you back into the professional environment.
Good stuff. Where are we based? Well, we're based in South Yorkshire. We're based at the fantastic Phoenix Sports Centre that's right on the border between Rotherham and Sheffield. There's a whole boatload of great grass pitches here, but we're making an investment into the site as well that will see the site get some brand new artificial surfaces as well. So that's very, very exciting for people joining the program for us in the coming years as well. There's so much about this site that's really, really good. It's obviously got other sporting provision on site. There's a gym, there's squash courts, there's obviously a restaurant here as well, snooker pool. And as our program has developed, we're incorporating all of these into what is life at NEFA as well. So, we really like it here, don't we, Spencer?
Yeah, it's a great place, really nice people. We moved here last summer. And as Ryan says, we're going to put a big investment into the facility and be our home for the long term, which is really exciting.
I think the other thing for parents tuning in as well, it's really accessible by public transport, and in terms of the distance from our training ground into the college, it's just a small bus journey away, 10-minute bus journey. So it's really, really well located as well.
Yeah, so in terms of our key principles, well, we model ourselves on a Dutch club called AZ Alkmaar. And if you've not heard of AZ before, they're one of the leading clubs in terms of youth development in Europe. In fact, if you play in the under 16s at AZ, you've got a 56% chance of being a professional footballer. It's absolutely amazing. So like all the best ideas, they're pinched. So we base ourselves on their key principles. The first one is raise the bar. So when young lads come into our program, we want them to set their heights to the top, and we're going to work with them, along with them giving 100% to realize their goals. What we also do as well is we create an environment that causes a bit of difficulty and a bit of discomfort, because that's what life's like. We want to build resilient players. So it could be training on a bumpy pitch, for example, and we set these challenges throughout the program. What we try and do with the players as well is get them to think about the game. So, you know, as coaches, yes, we can share our knowledge and our experience. Of course we can, but we want them to find solutions to the problems on the pitch. What you won't see at NEFA is our coaches running up and down the touchline barking orders for 90 minutes. That's not how we work, because that doesn't develop good players. Player responsibility is important in terms of what they want to learn. So every player has an individual learning plan, and at the start of the season, they decide what are the 4 performance goals they want to work on initially. Now, if we see something in the training sessions or in games, of course, we're there to provide some guidance. It's about the young lads taking responsibility for their own development. And they have to live like top-level athletes. The way that NEFA is run is like a professional academy, and I can say that with confidence because I've worked in professional academies for 4 seasons and a very good one at that. So what we do is provide the environment, but they must, you know, eat well. For example, no KFCs and McDonald's, which we're providing food for a small cost. That's the Phoenix as well. But all these things, because it's a tough industry, and they've got to give themselves the best possible opportunity. And we also have something called a growth mindset, where basically anything is achievable if you put your mind to it and you give 100% to the work that you do. So there are key principles which we work on. In terms of our program, well, of course, you'd expect, you know, specialist outfield and goalkeeping sessions. We train 3, sometimes 4 times a week. We train for about 90 minutes. And for those players that are ready, there's also strength and conditioning training. Now, we have to bear in mind that at 16, some of the lads are still growing. So the strength and conditioning and doing weights is not a good idea at this stage. But once they're probably 17 or 18, that's something we can look at with the specialists that we have. Nutritional advice, of course, that goes without saying that that's provided, because, you know, the fuel that you put into your body is going to help you perform. And also we do a lot of work in terms of sports psychology. So things such as positive self-talk, visualization and goal setting have all been proven beyond doubt to help people improve, not just in sport, but in life. So we cover those as well. All the training sessions, all the games are filmed. So there's footage given to the players from the games that are clipped by the coaches. And as Ryan mentioned a bit earlier, we have a caseload that we look after. So me personally, I have about 12 lads that I look after. So I'm in touch, any problems, you know, in and out of college or whatever it may be, that's what we're there to do. But we also clip their footage. But 3 or 4 months into the program, we teach them how to use the huddle system so they can clip their own footage moving forward. A big part of the game is developing their game insights. They understand the game. I know when I used to play, I just played on instinct and I didn't really understand the game. And the more they understand about it, in terms of how they position the body, for example, the better players they will be. So we do quite a lot of work on that. Now, as you'd expect, because we've worked in the industry for many years, we've got a lot of links to professional clubs and semi-professional clubs. So if players are good enough, a bit like the lad I mentioned earlier, then we will try and push them on, because success for us is not players staying with NEFA, it's moving up the pyramid and earning a living, either playing the game or working off the field as well. Now, results are important because we love to win games of football, of course we do. But it's not the be-all and end-all. It's all about the development of the individual and where they are when they come out of the program in 2 years' time. So in terms of our football programme, we have 3 teams. Our first team plays in the National League Youth Alliance. So this is the highest standard of youth football outside of the professional game. And the reason we're playing this league is because we want to be tested. As you'll probably see from the league table there, we're 4th in the league. We represent Frickley Athletic in this division. We only played 3 games, unfortunately, before lockdown hit us. But what we did do, we played a lot of games against other scholarships or academies in the South Yorkshire area. As I mentioned earlier, it's not about results, but we did have some very positive results during this period, being Sheffield Wednesday's scholarship equivalent, their A team 6-0, we beat the B team 8-1, Thomas Rotherham 4-1, beat Maltby 5-2. And that gives really an indication of the standard of play that the lads are producing. Our second team, they played the College League, and the third team played the Friday League, the Education Programme League. So as Ryan said a bit earlier, there's loads and loads of football to play. We've also set up for the 21-22 season a county senior side. So in the non-league pyramid, at step 7 or 8, I think it is. So the lads that are ready at 16, 17 years of age, they'll get a taste of adult football. Because that's one criticism of lads coming out of an academy system, sometimes at 19, 20 years of age, they go and play adult football, and it's a different game. And it's very difficult for them to adapt. So that's a big part of what we do. The adult side is more of the degree programme, which Ryan will touch on a little later. But if they're good enough, then of course, they'll get the opportunities.
So Spencer's mentioned a couple of these items previously, but we do incorporate a lot of tech into our program. And again, you know, that's us making a big investment. And why do we do it? Because it benefits you guys. It gives you the opportunity to develop quicker, to develop with greater understanding. So, you know, we're using some amazing technology. I think the first one to talk about is Resl. So we are the first private organisation in the country to take on the Resl VR system. So their current clients includes PSG, Manchester City, Manchester United. In fact, they just released a tweet last night of Mbappe using the system in the week before. He scored a hat-trick last night against Barcelona. So, you know, absolutely, you know, they're working with at the very, very top of the game. And this is a system that allows players to develop game understanding in a really, really unique way. It is a top cutting edge piece of technology that our program and our scholars are very fortunate to use, and we'll have that on site as well. As Spencer has touched on, we video a lot of the training sessions and all of the games using the, again, really innovative VO system, which is a camera that tracks the ball automatically. So there's no humans involved in the videoing of the games. And then all of that footage ends up in Huddle, which again, Huddle is used throughout the professional game right across the world. It's that system that allows us to produce the individual clips for you guys. And eventually you guys, as Spencer touched on, we're going to actually upskill you so you will know how to use the Huddle system, the VO system. And that's going to be really, really, you know, great assets for you as you go on into the future, if you go on to work in a football club, for example. We also use the player tech system. So everybody will recognize the end of the game. The players are taking their tops off, often to share with each other. And you see the players with the vests on, exactly the same system. And as you can see on the graphic there, that gives us some great insight into the distance traveled, the intensity of the running, the areas of pitch that you've been in with the heat maps. And it's really, again, it's about providing you guys with the information that you need to carry on developing. So it's great to have all this professional tech in an environment like ours, but it's absolutely going back to what our our expectations are, what our key principles. We're raising our own bar for your benefit as well.
And as part of the programme, we also have some guest speakers in. So it's really important for the players that they understand the different roles in the industry, but also what it takes to become a professional. As you can see from the slide here, we've had people such as John Williams, who's worked in the game for 30 years, head of coaching at Rotherham United, Curtis Woodhouse, who was the England under-21 international. He was captain of Sheffield United at 19, and then decided to become a professional boxer and became British champion. People such as Rob Scott, head of recruitment, Jamie Maguire, who didn't make his league debut until he was 26 years of age, Al Nix, who was at Man United, Aston Villa as a scholar and ended up playing in Thailand and Malaysia. And we have Joe Donkerin as well, who Joe looked after Callum Hudson-Odoi and Ruben Loftus-Cheek and some players at Chelsea. So giving a real insight to the role of the agent. And recently Ben Futcher, who had played 400 league games. He's been an assistant manager at Swindon and Mansfield Town. He's now an FA youth coach developer. So we get a real blend of guests in and have them pretty much every week. And this is really good for the players because it gives them the opportunity to see what it takes, also to ask questions that they wish. So we have a football syllabus. So like you'd expect, we have a curriculum for the BTEC level 3 in sports or the construction or the motor vehicle. And what we've been developing over the last 12 months is a curriculum which is over 200 pages long now. So there's loads of stuff in there, and it's something that we're expanding upon all the time. So it could be a player receiving on the half turn. So we've got all the different technical attributes you need to do that, and also videos of the top players doing it. So this is something that all players and our coaches, of course, have access to, which really helps accelerate the development. So this is a great piece of work and something we're expanding on, well, every week. So in terms of the education, as I mentioned a little earlier, Lifeskills was formed in 2002 and has worked with over 20,000 young people since its formation. So Lifeskills are an Ofsted graded good, so a grade 2 company, which means the quality of the education provision is being assessed by Ofsted and graded in this category. Good is obviously good. There's not many outstandings about, but as a training organisation, you want to be aiming for outstanding and goods, and anything less really isn't hitting the mark in terms of the education offer. But Lifeskills are also an investor in people goals, matrix information, advice and guidance accredited, and also a Sunday Times top 100 company to work for. So they've done that on 8 occasions now. So it's a great company to work for as well, which I would say because I'm one of the owners. But what we do, we work with over 1,000 young people every year in Leeds, Rotherham, Lowestoft, Basel, doing a whole host of different qualifications. So the education part of it is provided by Lifeskills. So as well as having all the accreditations that I just mentioned, the most important one being the Ofsted Report graded good, you can see the rates of achievement there. So look at the BTEC in sport, for example, 97% of people that started the program achieved the qualification. And this is a level 3 qualification as well, which gives you enough UCAS points to get into university, which I will cover a little later. But you can see the construction, motor vehicle, health and social care, and business admin are all different opportunities for the lads to do, as well as doing the full-time football. And really important, for most people is the English and maths as well. And the grades are 80% for English and 88% maths. And the key to that is having great people working at Lifeskills and NEFA that are really passionate about helping young people develop.
I think, Spencer, I think I do just want to go back actually and just mention that in terms of the student satisfaction scores that come out of Lifeskills as well.
Yeah, of course, right. I mean, all the accreditations are really nice and to get the Ofsted reports. But the important thing for us is that 94% of learners would recommend Lifeskills to their friends in the latest government satisfaction survey. So we pretty much get these rates all the time, which is great. And it's testament to the work that the people are doing within the organisation.
Great stuff. Yeah, so as Spencer has alluded to a few times, what we've really worked very, very hard on over the last 12 months is extending the time that we could potentially work with people like yourself. First of all, the whole reason for this college program in the first place is your development is absolutely not done at 16. So whether you've recently been released by a club or you've not quite made it into the professional game, your development is absolutely not finished at 16. Really, likewise, it's not completely finished at 18, 19 either, which is why we've developed a degree program, both for international students in our international degree program. So that's people from not from the UK, from all parts of the world, coming to us to do a degree with our partners at Sheffield Hallam, and a full-time football development program with NEFA as well. But also for you guys, the option to go and do a domestic degree program as well. And for those of you that are really tracking the BTEC Level 3 in sport program, this would be a natural progression for you guys as well to come and once you've completed the 2-year college program with us, to then go up to do a degree and carry on your football in a full-time program as well. So that degree element of our pathway, of our journey matrix there, that's a separate group. So you guys, as you'll see a little bit later on, will be training in the mornings. These guys will be training in the afternoon. But as you can see, there's a clear progression. And for those of you that are really academic minded, there's a progression right the way up through to master's level as well, which I'm sure there'll be some of you there that will want to go on and study at that level as well. And once you've progressed up to do the degree, you know, we really want to be working together during that 3-year degree program. So if you're not going to go and do a master's, that you are entering the football industry workforce in some shape or form as well. So we're really proud of the work that we've put in to get to this sort of matrix and the progressions that we can offer somebody, in the journey that we can go on together. And we like to include just a little example of you know, some of the players that we've worked with. Nathan came on the program exactly like you guys. You know, Nathan was at a local club in the professional academy setup. Was released from Rotherham United and had 2 years with us. Did absolutely fantastic. Was a model student. Was a model player. Never missed a session. Worked unbelievably hard, and he's now gone to, you know, the top club in Northern Ireland. They're involved in European competition at Larne FC and doing absolutely fantastic. And you can see on that slide what Nathan had to say about his time at NEFA as well. Spencer.
Yeah, so in terms of a normal week, well, on Mondays, all the lads come in and we use a process called self-reflection. So we reflect on what happened in the previous week, what went well, what could be improved, and the lads actually document this down and get feedback from the coaches within 24 hours. So that is a real important tool to accelerate the development of all the individuals on the program. And then we go through the plan for the week, maybe looking at some footage from the previous week's games program, and then we're out on the pitch. So we're training generally on a Monday, a Tuesday and a Thursday, with a game on a Wednesday afternoon. And then the education at Lifeskills generally takes place on the Monday, Tuesday, Thursday or Friday. The lads have the weekend off if they're not selected for the county senior side, which hopefully some of them will be. So that is pretty much the outline of the programme, but it can change from week to week due to the demands of the football.
So obviously it goes without saying that there's no cost to this program at all. It's all part of the normal education setup in this country, so it's fully funded for everybody. But we do go above and beyond that as well. So for mums and dads and guardians listening in, you know, one of the key things that we do is we reimburse all travel to both the training ground and the college as well. So obviously we work with the student, the player, to make sure that they're on the right ticket, and then they get their money reimbursed on a weekly basis. As long as they attend every training session, every college session, they also get a £40 cash bonus that's paid at the end of each month as well. And with it being full-time education, there's no changes to any child or tax credits that people might be receiving as well. We also kit the lads out. We've got kit coming out of our ears. They get all training gear, socks, tops, shorts, a jumper, a rainproof jacket. Then they get some leisure wear as well, a polo shirt, a tracksuit, And of course, we kit them out for the wetter and colder weather as well, with hats and hoodies as well. So it's part of our professional outlook as well. You know, we want the players taking themselves seriously, and part of that is obviously turning up to training, you know, like a footballer, with a professional mindset and approach as well. And we really feel that that, you know, this is while it's nice to have, it's also really, really important to have as well. And
yeah, in terms of things to consider, well, we really hope that if you're watching this, that you're going to come and join us at NEFA and Lifeskills. But should you not, just a few things to make you aware of, really, from my experience and knowledge of working in this industry for 25 years. Now, unfortunately, in this space, in the football education space, things are not always the same with some of the providers offering a football and education program. So a few things really to look out for is how long the providers have been in business. There's a lot of football clubs that offer scholarships. That's not actually the football club, that's their charitable arm. So maybe have a look at how long they've actually been delivering this. As I said a bit earlier, you know, what are the Ofsted grades? If it's an outstanding and good, you're pretty much in safe hands. Anything less that, they're not meeting the requirements set down by Ofsted, the quality body in the country. And have a look at the academic achievements as well. And it's very easy for people to put rates on a website or even on a presentation, but are they backed up by the government statistics? And is there a player development syllabus? You know, a lot of clubs will not have a syllabus for the development, but like we say at NEFA, we have that for the education part and also the football development. The qualifications of the coaching staff are very important. You know, UEFA is the highest one that you can get in terms of coaching, you know, at this level. So really, UEFA licensed coaches are important to help your son develop and accelerate at the rate they possibly can. And also as a financial support provided as well. So we really hope you join us at NEFA and Lifeskills, but if not, these are just things as parents you really need to have a look at and consider.
great, thank you, Spencer. Well, that's it, everybody. So I hope that we've answered some of the questions that you've got. I hope that we've provided lots of information for you. If you've got any questions, then please email me, and there'll be a link right below on how to do that. My email address, very easy, ryan@nefa.co.uk. We do really hope that you consider NEFA and join us next season. And like I say, any questions that you've got, feel free to get in touch as soon as possible. Spencer, thanks for your time.
Okay, thanks, Ryan.
And we'll hope to see everybody soon.